Hi there, how are you? My name is Dani Henderson. Today is May the 14th, 2024. I'm in England and it just started raining. Nothing new there. I wanted to bring you some experiences that I had. This channel, as many of you know that come here, and thank you for subscribing. And I do invite others to subscribe so you can never miss out on a story and experience or an amazing person that I bring on my channel. This channel is all about the corruption of your planet in every system imaginable. We talk about the satanics, the military, the governments, and everything else in between. But moreover, we talk about the galactic experiences that we have and you have, and the spiritual journey that we're all on in this time of the ascension of consciousness that exists in all of us. The first story experience I want to share with you is about the angels. Now, a lot of you have had angelic experiences. Some of you have had them through religion. Some of you have experienced them through other people's experiences. And that's lovely too, because sometimes we just need a way to connect, to give us, what I always say is use your imagination to bring the information. Sometimes that's just the way we learn, like Father Christmas, Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, the Tooth Fairy. Sometimes we need a plug-in to a realm of magic, loving, kind, white light. But moreover, it's really an expression of the human vessel that you're in and the metaphysical abilities that you have. So I'm somebody who signed up in this lifetime to learn by experience. I don't recommend it actually all the time. But there you are, that's what it is. And this is the way that I'm able to speak truth to you directly and look into the camera, into the eyes of you watching, and know that I hold my ground because this happened and because it's real and it's true. And the things I talk about aren't something that the things I bring to you, especially in this broadcast, is about 4 different areas we're going to go into, are truthful, physical, witness, of expression, of other metaphysical, spiritual, galactic expressions of life that appear on this planet. Now, 2002, I'm in England. I was living in California and I'm in England visiting family. And I came and I stayed at my sister-in-law's house at the time, and I used to be married. I'm no longer married. And I was very tired. It was a very long day. It was very jet lagged, and I could use that as a pull into why I saw this, but I'm telling you the truth. So I'm telling you the whole buildup of the expression that I witnessed. I remember being so tired, and I'd literally got off the plane, got on a taxi, got to my sister-in-law's house, had a coffee, gave her a hug and said, dude, I'm so tired. I'm just going to go lie down. I'll see you in an hour or whatever. I laid down. I remember laying back on the pillow and closing my eyes. And I was so tired and I was so jacked. When you're on a plane, oh my God, the planes, the energy of the planes on your neural pathways, on your nervous system are horrendous to this very day. And so I remember thinking, I'm just going to go into a breathing exercise where I will teach my brain to switch off. And how we do that is we breathe in for 2, breathe out for 4, breathe in for 2, breathe out for 4. When you do that, you're messaging to your brain, that's on automatic unless you change the way your brain pattern is running. You're messaging your brain to say, I am not on alert. I'm not on fight or flight. The cortisol in my body for the day of travel was going in, out, in, out. That's what the brain does. It keeps you aware. But on this moment, I'm realizing, remembering my tools that I teach and I've shared, and I've used them, of course, myself for many years. I'm remembering to breathe in for 2 and out for 4. Now, those of you that can't sleep, try doing that. Also try breathing in for 3, out for 6, or in for 4 and out for 8. What you do is you're telling your messaging center in your brain, your mainframe computer that runs your body on automatic, your organs, your functions, that you don't need to breathe in, which means you're not on alert. So I was doing this breathing exercise In for 2, out for 4, and letting my body relax. And another tool is to imagine yourself melting into the bed or the mattress or the sofa, and you relax. And then you also can imagine on a deeper level a cloud coming under you. Then you imagine yourself just relaxing back more into it. Your brain is so brilliant. The body creates sensations that allow you to go into a calmer situation, or some call it trance. It doesn't really matter. But I'm still fully aware of the fact that I'm in my sister-in-law's room in England and I'm bloody tired. So I'm laying there and I'm doing this breathing exercise, and I'm really feeling myself start to drift off. And then I felt something lovely, gentle, frequency. And then I heard a giggle, and I opened my eyes, and directly above me, now I'm lying on the bed, so I would say the distance was about 5 feet up in front of me. And there were 2 tiny angel cherub babies. I had no memory at that moment of ever seeing, as much as I've seen so many physical presences, I don't ever remember seeing baby angel cherubs. They're known as the seraphim above me ever. I was awake. I was not in between spaces. I was not in between dream time. I was fully conscious. And I look up, and there are these 2 babies, these big, chunky, and they were white-skinned, blonde-haired, blue-eyed babies. There was a little boy, and he had white, blonde, curly hair that came down to here. There was a little girl right next to him. They looked very similar in age, and she had long, straight, blonde hair and blue eyes. In the seconds that I saw them hovering over me, your brain goes into linear, beta, theta, gamma, delta. It goes into all of the existences that happen inside the brain when you're seeing something of a phenomena that you don't see in everyday life. I didn't program a thing. I wasn't expecting a thing. And there are these 2 physical, beautiful baby angel cherubs. The other thing I noticed in a nanosecond, because you notice in a nanosecond, it's instant. There's no time for the brain to actually collect its thoughts. You're witnessing and you're absorbing in that nanosecond of happening. These baby angel cherubs had tiny, weeny wings. Weeny, weeny, tiny wings. I remember the thought I had in that nanosecond, split second connection, thinking, how are they staying up like that? How on earth are they fluttering those wings? And the ratio of weight, mass in physics, I remember having those thoughts because it was so unexpected. And they were as real as I am, physical, solid, just hovering above me and giggling. I remember looking up and recognizing the wings and laughing. And as I went to connect, it was like they went and they disappeared. And I was already partially sitting up, fully awake. I was trying to go to sleep and doing my breathing exercise. And I remember sitting up and thinking, how on earth could that possibly be? How could that possibly be? How could I see 2 solid physical baby cherub angels with tiny wings? How could that possibly be? And then I thought about the Renaissance paintings, or as Americans and Canadians call it, the Renaissance. It's the same thing, we just say words differently. And I remember over the years seeing many, as you have, many paintings of the Renaissance period in particular, where we've seen angels depicted with wings. And in that moment, I understood the reason why things are painted or drawn in these ways, even down to prehistoric pictograph, hieroglyph, chalk wall drawings. People always paint, draw what they see. It wasn't till that moment of my own experience that I realized that was a real thing. And so paintings of cherubs from long, long ago, Christopher Wren, Michelangelo, etc., they paint what they see. So I'm going to move forward to another experience I had, because I don't want to keep doing separate videos. I want to give you, as you are in your own period of awakening, as you are in your own period of ascension, as you are looking for grounding points to anchor in an experience that you had, or you're just interested, I want to tell you about something that happened in Egypt in the year 2007 for me. Completely different era, timeline, and completely different experience. I was in Egypt over New Year of 2007 with my sister, and we booked a trip, a cruise down the River Nile. Now, when I say cruise, they do their best. They really do their best. The loveliest people. But when I say cruise, those in the Western world, I want you to think about a ferry boat with a ribbon on it. That's a more honest expression of those that have been on those very fancy cruise ships, as opposed to a trip on a ferry down the aisle, down that River Nile. 2007. So we went to Luxor. And there are many temples there. And you go down the river aisle. Oh my gosh, the River Nile. It's like an aisle, because on one side you have Luxor, on the other side you have the Nibiru, you have the other civilization, and the main religion there is Islam. So when you're on the River Nile, at certain times of day, you will hear the call to Allah, to Islam. And it is the most extraordinary experience, because if you've never experienced it, there are big, huge foghorns and sound horns on rooftops and churches that play this ancient music and sound and mantra, which is the call to prayer. When you're on the River Nile, you're hearing it both sides of the river. And it's really quite extraordinary. And it does, you know, if you've never heard it, it's kind of an assault on your nervous system, because it's something new in a culture that you possibly know nothing of. So that was amazing. So we went to a temple, many temples in Karnak, and I don't remember exactly, because there were so many things that we did there, but I believe this was at the temple of Karnak. So on our expedition, we were lucky enough to have a really small group of people, and we had a guide. His name was Ali, and there's many people called Ali in that part of the world. It's a very common name, like in the Western world, David. And he was from a long-term Egyptian family of guides who took great pleasure and importance in reporting the ancient history of Egypt, because, as many of you already know, you will never know it all. You will never hear it all. You will never read it all. You will never watch it all until you go there and you hear the oral history, just like our beautiful American Indians and the many oral histories, our Aboriginals, the many indigenous peoples of our world who keep their treasured heritage away from being deleted by the West mostly, and they will orally tell you things that you will never know until you go there. There's a group of 5 of us, my sister and I and 3 others, and we're at this temple. And we are shown an image on a hieroglyphic wall in a sacred temple in a very important area where the king or the pharaoh used to go. And it was a depiction, and it is said to be the very first calendar on planet Earth. Now, whether that's true or not, I have no way of proving that. I was told that. I was shown that. No. The camera I took those photos on no longer exists. It actually blew up on a plane going from America to England. Regardless, you can look it up. The first calendar in Luxor or the Temple of Karnak. The other thing we were told was that there was a place on the ground level where the pharaoh or the king would stand in front of what they call a stela, S-T-E-L-A, which is a stone with a depiction of paintings, drawings, images on that's ancient. The pharaoh would be guided to this particular place every day. But guess what? The ancient guide I had from the long ancestral heritage lineage told us that the pharaoh of that particular temple, and this will happen to a lot of them, will be given certain elixirs to drink. Now, in the modern world, we call that drugs or hallucinogenics. Don't be offended. This is what I was told, and I'm passing it on to you. I have no judgment. I have no reason to discount this person from this long ancestral family, and neither should you. We only learn by listening and then discerning. It was said that the pharaoh would stand atop a metal grill. What else I was told by Ali was that there would be holy monks that would stand, or priests, holy men that would stand underneath the grill below ground. And as they brought the pharaoh out for this particular ceremony, where he was told he was going to hear the ancient gods speak. In his enhanced, or trance-like state, or high state, whatever you want to call it, he would then hear information that the people around him would claim they could not hear, thus making the pharaoh believe that she was getting information from the divine. Now, we were told that. I pass that on to you. During this time, there were other many amazing, incredible revelations that we experienced, that I experienced, that they experienced, that it was time to go home. On the way home on the plane, I decided to buy this watch. Now, this watch has crystals in it because I learned that wearing crystals near the skin can really enhance your electromagnetic field. It can amplify it. It can also protect your energy. It can deflect, etc. So I bought this watch and I'm sitting on the plane in the window. I have to be in the window because I'm always looking outside the window for phenomenon. Always. I am that mad woman that doesn't want to put her shutter down on the plane. Not sorry. Anyway, I'm at the window. It's a nighttime flight. My sister's sitting next to me and a man on the aisle is sitting next to her. I'm looking out of the window like this for ages and ages and ages. I notice right below my window, right where I can see out the plane, there's a bank of cloud. Now, we've left Egypt and the bank of cloud was shaped like a pyramid out of the window. I remember thinking, well, that's just quite extraordinary. Am I seeing things? During my time in Egypt, I learned much, and I learned about the helmets or the crowns of Upper and Lower Egypt. The Lower Egyptian crowns come up and they kind of dent in the middle. And they'll come up thus high and dent in the middle. The crowns of Upper Egypt, they come up like a big cone. Okay, they come up, the crowns of Upper Egypt come up in a cone, quite high, quite high. I'm not talking about the skeletal skull that comes out like this in the times of Queen Nefertiti and Tutankhamun, who are the parents of Tutankhamun are Nefertiti and Akhenaten. I'm not talking about their angular skulls, which we see a lot around the world, especially in Egyptian times, which is believed they were of off-planet, off-world, extraterrestrial lineage. So I'm on the plane looking out the window and I see this bank of cloud. I'm looking down and I'm like, that's so odd. I'm on my new watch, looking at it, and I'm deciding to time how long it takes. Well, let me tell you, it took 25 full minutes for that bank of cloud to move. How is that possible when a plane is moving at least 500 miles an hour? How could possibly a bank of clouds shaped like a pyramid fanning out from under the seat below the plane I'm on? I'm just in front of the wing. How is that possible? It just isn't. Chop it up any way you like, be a physicist, a chemist, a neurologist, doesn't matter. Be a meteorologist, it doesn't matter. This was happening. Same time that's happening, and I'm getting all like betwixt. I'm like, what the heck is happening? I notice the wing, and on the other side of the wing, I see a light, and the light pops up, pops down, pops up, pops down. And I'm like, oh my God, stop, stop. Now, at that point, I'd already learned to fly planes, Cessnas and Pipers, right? And I was moving to helicopters, right? 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, small planes. You understand the lights on the wings. You understand when you're coming into land at an airport, the lights. I'm using all of that information I have, and I'm trying to figure out what the hell is that light on the other side of the bloody wing on the bloody jumbo jet I'm bloody on. How is that there? How is that bank of cloud there? It makes no sense. The logical linear thinking is out the window. And I'm like, holy shit, what is happening? Guess what happened next? I look at the light and it's coming up and down. And it's not the wing tip moving because I'm watching the light at the end of the wing. Okay? And I know what I'm looking at is real. And I know this pyramid-shaped bank of cloud, it shouldn't be there, but it's there. I'm looking at my new watch with the crystals on it, and I'm like, oh my God. So then I do what I've done. I regret it every time, pretty much. And I said to the light, at that point it was kind of yellow and gold, popping up, popping down, popping up, popping down. And I said, I can see you. And it changed color. And it went pink and it popped up higher over the wing. And I went, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And then I said, I can see you. Now, that light shot to the end of the wing, moved around the wing of the plane, came directly next to me on the plane. It was from my window, it was 20 feet out. And it was an orb of golden light, and it shot lightning, sideways lightning. How is sideways lightning possible? Physically, in physics and chemistry and any kind of scientific data you want to look at, how could there possibly be sideways lightning? It was lightning. A lightning flash came from that light to me, and as it came and I thought it was going to hit the plane, I bashed into my sister. What I didn't realize was, well, the whole time I'd been doing this, dinner had been served, and my sister next to me had put down my table and put my dinner on my table. She had her dinner, and the man next to her, who was a grey-haired man with glasses, wearing a shirt and a tie and a sleeveless sweater. When I first got on the plane and I looked at him, Don't know how I knew it, but I knew he was a scientist. Not only that, I knew he was a meteorologist, a scientist of the weather. When that lightning was coming towards the plane, I slammed back, I smashed my head into my sister, and she smashes her head into the man, and dinner went everywhere. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. My sister's like, what? I'm like, did you see that? Did you see that? She's like, no. I'm like, oh my God, there was a lightning flash. She went, what are you doing there? She's a really sweet person, a non-confrontational person, but I messed up. In a moment, I said to her, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Trying to pick up dinner. We're trying to clear up the mess. The man is not happy. The man is looking at this crazy woman out the window and thinking, what the hell is that? I said to my sister, I have to sit next to him. I have to tell him. I have to speak to him. She complied. And we did this ridiculous thing where we stood up on the seats. You know how tiny we were in economy, like most people. We stood up on our seats on the plane to switch places. It was ridiculous. But I was in this enhanced state of mind. And I plunked down next to the man and I said to him, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And he looked at me. He said, what happened? And I said to him, you're a scientist, aren't you? And he said, how do you know that? He was Scottish. I said, I don't know. You're a meteorologist, aren't you? And he went, how do you know that? I said, I have to tell you something. For 25 minutes, I've watched out that window and I've watched the most incredible phenomena. I can't explain it. I told him what happened. Oh, I missed a bit. The bit I missed was this. Before the lightning struck and I was watching the gold light come up and down, I looked across out the window, way across, and there was some kind of a lightning storm. And it was reds and blues and greens and yellows and silvers over some kind of mountain range. And it went on for ages. That was all part of my 25-minute journey. I sat with the man and I said, okay, this happened. There's the bank of cloud outside the window, which isn't possible because we're traveling at least 500 miles an hour. How could there be a bank of cloud stagnant and static under my seat outside this? And how could that light be there when the lights aren't bright gold and they're not pink? And how could I have seen this mountain range with all these colors? And he said to me, the only thing that makes sense to me is the mountain range, because at some point of the journey, we would have gone and seen a particular mountain range that's known for its thunder and lightning storms. I'm like, okay, copy. And he said to me, but the rest of it, I have no idea what you've seen and what you saw. He was a long-term, very well-known, I won't say his name because I don't have permission, person who had put much information into the field. So anyway, plane lands fine, of course. My sister forgives me and the man forgives me. And I didn't get to eat dinner because it was on the floor and I was so embarrassed for causing such a scene. I get to my house and I'm living in this beautiful rented stately home, Wymanley house. And there were so many kids that lived there and they would all come and play in my house and I've chased them around anyway. So I get home and there's two kids next door. They come in my house, Danny's home, Danny's home. I'm running around with them and chasing them around the sofa because the place was so big. The sofa was in the middle of the room because it was such a massive living room. It was the ancient library. All the shelves were around. Running around and around. I'm quite tired. I'm laughing and laughing. And all of a sudden I stand just to take a breath. And I look and there is a bloody silver alien, a being that is completely silver. Now, every aspect, his skin, his face, his helmet, which in my mind at that moment registered the crown of Upper Egypt. It was that tall, conical, high crown, all in silver. And it wasn't like there was separation. His tall, slim body his skin was silver, his face was silver, his conical helmet, the cone helmet, was silver. And he was standing like this, leaning against my dining table, watching me, as physical as I am to you right now. He made me jump and I screamed, piss off, like that. And he went like that because he didn't know I'd see him, but I did because I'm clairvoyant and I see this stuff all the time. And he jumped and the children went, what? And I went, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I said a naughty word. but there's a silver man. Did you see the silver man? They're like, no, no. I said, there was a silver man standing right there. Then I opened the back door into an acre of land, all woodland all around one side, and in the middle is a giant field that kind of goes up a slope at Wymanley House in village of Wymanley, Little Wymanley in Hertfordshire. That's where I lived. And Luton Airport is miles away. I mean, it's the distance of this here, here's my house, and the flight path is not here. It's all the way over there. Yeah, just to give you an image. I go out, I open the door into the garden, I look out, and I scream out, I saw you! Show me your ship! I lie to you not. In less than 2 seconds, a friggin' giant jumbo jet went directly low over my garden. I'm over here, what did I say? If you can imagine me there, that's my garden. There's no flight path there. Flight path is over here. How did a friggin' jumbo jet, as physical as you and I, come over my garden here? It was so low and so deep, and I'm looking up going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And then a second one came behind it. A second one came behind it. It's not possible. In the physical realm that we're trained and taught, it is not possible. Non possible. But it happened, and I realized that it was a shape-shifting craft. Titter ye not. It happened. Anyway, kids went home, and a couple of days later, I went on a date. And it wasn't a good date. And the man was nice. It was a blind date. And I drove my car to the hotel he was staying at. It was friends of friends, so I was kind of safe. And within 5 minutes of being on this date and wanting to be polite to my friends, I don't do that anymore, but then I did. I'm like, oh God, I'm going to have to drink my way through this one. So I was in my early 30s at this time. So I had a few drinks and I left my car at the hotel. So I knew the next day I'd have to go back and get it. So I borrowed one of the kids. I said, come with me. I'm going to go and pick my car up. I was very embarrassed, very shy. I didn't really know how to tell this man I was never going to see him again. And anyway, so he goes, come and have tea with me for breakfast. We sat down at his table, sitting away, chatting, having a cup of tea, really not going to do anything in front of the child. She was 6. And gosh, thinking, what's the polite way to leave? I need to leave and just drive my car away. And all of a sudden, this kid, I remember the man was about to take a sip of tea. And at the second he was taking it, the little girl said, Dani saw a silver alien in our house the other day. And the guy stopped drinking halfway and looked at me and said, did you? And I went, yes, I did. Yes, I did. And he was wearing a very tall conical, helmets, similar to the helmet, the crown of Upper Egypt. He stopped taking the sip and put his teacup down and looked at me. And I thought, excellent. And I said to the little girl, time to leave. And I never heard from him again. I never heard from him again. Completely brilliant and completely true. Completely brilliant. Anyway, so another part of this story, trying to get 4 in one here, is there was the woman next door with the children. I didn't know how Christian she was. And when I say Christian, and nothing against the Christians, you do you, right? Evangelical, brimstone fire, really, really, really intense. Now, over these few days also, I got a job on British television on a live broadcast channel that was speaking live. I did it for 2 years. I did, gosh, over 950 live broadcast hours over this period. And in this land where we lived, in Little Wymanley, in Hertfordshire, the most obvious bird, or the bird en masse, was the crow. There were hundreds and hundreds of crows because they've got to live somewhere, right? They like certain trees, they like certain land. And there were always hundreds and hundreds of crows in the trees. It's important to the story. So I get this job on this psychic channel, and I get a knock at the door, and it's my neighbor. And my neighbor says to me in a very heightened, upset way, "Oh my God, you're a psychic." And I said to her, "Well, I don't call myself a psychic. I'm clairvoyant and I'm very spiritual." She went, "Oh my God, you're a psychic. You do tarot cards." And I said, "I actually don't do tarot cards, but, you know, each to their own." And I said, "What's the problem?" And she said to me, "I can't believe I let my children come into your house." Now, that was pretty devastating, because I love these children and they love me. And I've been a nursery nurse for so many years, and I babysat them and had them at sleepovers in my house, and I was really devastated. Anyway, she said to me, "I can't believe I let my kids in your house. You're never, ever going to come near me or my kids again," and then shut the door and left. And I had a good cry. I was devastated. The next morning, I get up. I walk out my front door. She's part of this huge mansion next door. I walk out my front door, and what do I see on the ground? A bloody dead crow. Okay. Not only is it a dead crow, it's on her doorstep like this. It could not have been worse. It could not have been worse. I'm accused of being a witch, an evil person, and corrupting children and all that. And there is a dead crow on her doorstep. A part of me for a nanosecond thought, I need to go and pick it up. But then I started almost throwing up because I've got a terrible gag reflex. And I was thinking about that old talk about crow pie and eating dead bird. And so that started coming up. I'm like, oh my God, I can't pick that up. I can't do it. So I left it. I left it. Oh my God. Anyway, yeah, the kids never came to my house again, and there was a dead crow there in this amazing place. It's Wymanley House, a little Wymanley, a lot of spiritual phenomena there. Actually, it used to be it was a country house, and then it was given to a monastery where the monks used to walk around the garden and do a prayer walk. It's an acre walk. Then it was cut up into apartments and houses, and it is a beautiful place. But anyway, the point of this video is to give you, again, information, real-time, real-life experiences that I have had, physical, as you are in your own time of realizing the metaphysicalness of this planet, the real spirituality of this planet, the things we've been told that are true and aren't true, and things that happened to you as a child and a young person and an adult, and even now, that you may have discounted or discredited because you were told you were evil, you were bad, and all that bullshit that we're told. And these things happened. The cherub angels going to Egypt, the calendar, the kings, how the kings were drugged or tranced or enhanced by opioids. It's always been there, and told that they were so holy and so divine. That's what the pharaohs were told. Some of them believed they were gods, and that was the monks putting into them, like today with the spin doctors, etc., for governments and parliaments. It is all the same story wrapped up. And then the really good, the really spiritual, the really earth, the really groundedness gets covered up and twisted, like the herbs and the witches and the this and the that, you know? And I saw this particular silver being. Now, someone said, oh, that was Ashtar. Now, Ashtar isn't a single person. It is a name, a collective name. Nefertiti, Nefertari, Sebek Nefaru. These are ancient titles of Egypt. Nefer. Look at the Anunnaki, the different symbolisms, or the 3-letter or the 4 or 5 part first words of title. As we go into more revelation of the world we live on, let's pay more attention to all of the names and all of the places and all of the ancient practices that we still see today. Yeah, that we still see today. Now, Temple of Karnak is extremely important. The crowns of Upper and Lower Egypt, the things that we haven't quite understood. Now, at the moment, Dr. Michael Sala he's already posted that he's in Egypt. He's actually due back. He's there because he knows too, of course, a long-term scholar. Go to the places and find for yourself. Go on your own journeys, your own discoveries, and come back with a more open mind and learn to question everything. Now, I'm going to leave you with that. The TV show, The Dead Crow, The Kids Next Door, The Silver Man, The Airplane Over My Garden, Upper and Lower Egypt, Temple at Karnak, how the kings were tricked, the pharaohs were tricked to taking things in their food to enhance their metaphysicalness, which they believe would make them divine gods, for example. Of course, don't forget, there were definitely alien, extraterrestrial, off-planet people mixed into that time. Don't forget also, the last 300 years of ancient Egypt was run by the Greeks. The very last pharaoh of Egypt was Cleopatra. She was a Greek Macedonian from the lineage of a man called Ptolemy, which is a P-T, silent P, Ptolemy, okay, from the army of Alexander the Great, who built the Great Library of Alexandria that was exterminated as the shitheads tried to control, even back then, the knowledge and the wisdom of the planet. They tried to enslave our planet for thousands and thousands of years, and yet they failed. They still failed. It's 2024, my darlings. They failed. Don't get disheartened. Listen to experiences like mine and trust your own. Rise up in you. Now, if you want to know the greatest gathering of truth tellers and disclosure people that tell you everything on your planet, every system, satanics, military, government, science, education, health, well-being, everything you can imagine and not imagine. One place to be, September 27, 28, and 29 of this year, 2024, Westminster, Colorado, a 3-day conference where you'll meet and hear the most incredible things you have never heard that we can't put online. GalacticSpiritualInformers.com. I am Dani Henderson. I send you my love from my heart to yours, and I will see you there.